Trump's battle for the Supreme Court starts now. I don't mean a lawsuit. I mean, who's he going to pick for the court, or who's he setting up to get picked for the court? Exile is the name. It's going to make a lot of sense because I have a giant rant by Adam Schiff on how bad the nomination of ML Bove is. He just got nominated to be on the Third Circuit, which is one of the circuits that they pull the Supreme Courts from. So first time I've done a video on this. This guy is going to be the next pick of the Supreme Court if a conservative picks him. And there's turmoil because Trump's not picking from the same list that he picked from before when it was Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Love you guys. So I'm setting this up now. This is going to be the big turmoil at the Supreme Court. Here's Adam Schiff.
So who the hell is Emil Bove, and why should you care about Emil Bove? So Emil Bove is Donald Trump's nominee for the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. That is a circuit that covers Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and the Virgin Islands. It is also a position, I think, that Donald Trump and his ilk hope will catapult Emil Bove onto the Supreme Court someday. Now, let's talk about his background, because when you hear about his background, it'll tell you exactly why you should care about Emil Bove. So Emil Bove starts out as a prosecutor in the Southern District of New York, and he is so disliked for his management style, for his temper tantrums, for his unethical conduct, that the Federal Public Defender's Office, when they learn that he is being considered for promotion, they write a letter to the supervisors in the office to say, you should think twice about this. Maybe you don't know how he is representing himself in the office, but it is not a way that you should want to be represented.
Oh, I mean, we trust these are all Democrats who wrote the letter. We trust institutions. Look at this melon head. Adam Schiff, nice try. But I love that he's doing the biography for me. And I like pulling all this information from someone who hates Trump, because all you have to do is flip everything he says, and then you got the truth.
So the Public Defender's Office complains about him, but it's not just the Public Defender's Office. He's supervising a case in federal court, a case in which the prosecutors he's supervising withhold what's called Brady material. That is exculpatory material, or material that would tend to help prove the innocence of a potential defendant. So the attorneys under his supervision are withholding this material from the defense, material they're legally required to provide. They misrepresent this to the court, they conceal it, and Bove is forced to admit that they essentially lied to the court. So the court admonishes this prosecution, led by Emil Bove, for its unethical, unprofessional conduct. But it's not even just the court, in this case he supervised, or just the attorneys on the other side of the courtroom. It's attorneys in his own office that, once he is given this appointment, petition to have him removed from supervision.
This is the kind of Supreme Court judge I want. These are all good things to say. He's not a team player. He's not a go-along guy. He does not side with either side. He can't be bought. He can't be manipulated. And that's why Adam Schiff is angry. This guy is just like Trump in that he does his own thing, and that drives the status quo crazy.
Because of the poor management capabilities and his ill performance in that role. Now they consider it. They make the decision to demote him. He makes a plea not to be demoted, and because of other factors going on at the office, including not wanting it to appear that his demotion was the result of this admonition by the court, they decide not to demote him. So that's the background of Emil Bove, the prosecutor.
Okay, so he was not demoted. You wanted him to get demoted. They tried to demote him. They decided not to demote him. That's the news. They didn't demote him. This is terrible. You have nothing. You're terrified, and that makes me happy.
So Bove leaves the office. He then joins a law firm with Todd Blanche. And he and Todd Blanche become, guess what, Donald Trump's criminal defense lawyers. So Todd Blanche, now the #2 at the Justice Department, Emil Bove, an acting top attorney at the Justice Department, but the two of them before the Trump administration go to work for Donald Trump as his criminal lawyers. They represent him in New York during the prosecution of Donald Trump for the Stormy Daniels payments, the violation of campaign ethics laws, and the filing of false business reports. And Trump is convicted dozens of times on felony charges. They also represent him in his federal cases. And there, Beauvais gets a big assist from the Supreme Court of the United States.
Also, he already fits right in. His judicial philosophy is looking pretty good so far, Adam Schiff. He sees this as a big sick burn, and I'm just going, this guy's resume sounds amazing. When can we get him on the Supreme Court?
Which basically delays the prosecution of Donald Trump in federal court, delays the prosecution involving his incitement of insurrection on January 6th.
It wasn't a delay. It was just so you guys remember the history properly. It wasn't so much Beauvais' delay. It was Jack Smith's rush. He was like, rush to judgment, rush. We have to get this done before the election. Hurry. And he was trying to hurry. Supreme Court is you don't get to do this timing stuff and try and win an election by trying to slam Trump in a lawsuit. Sorry.
Delays the Trump prosecution involving the storage of classified materials, the obstruction of justice at Mar-a-Lago, to the point where he can't be prosecuted before he becomes president.
Yeah.
And they also give him immunity so broad that as a practical matter, he will probably never be prosecuted for those crimes.
Yeah, Constitution's really tough, isn't it, Adam? Don't you just hate it? Don't you just want to shred that Constitution? That's all.
So that's Beauvais' experience, one of being a poor, disreputable prosecutor, another of representing Donald Trump's criminal cases. So, of course, Donald Trump makes his criminal lawyers the top people in the Justice Department. Pam Bondi, criminal defense lawyer for Donald Trump, she becomes AG. Todd Blanche becomes number 2. Beauvais becomes acting, essentially number 3 in the Justice Department.
So you're saying all 3 of them should be Supreme Court justices, right? Am I getting you right, Adam Schiff?
And then we get into the even more serious misconduct of Emile Beauvais. So probably most notable in the serious misconduct of Emile Beauvais in this acting capacity in the Justice Department is his ordering his former office, the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney's Office, ordering them to dismiss the corruption case against the mayor of New York, Eric Adams.
Yeah.
Now, this was a serious corruption matter for which a grand jury returned an indictment charging the mayor with multiple felony counts of serious corruption.
This is so dumb. They only went after Eric Adams because he opposed all of the illegal immigrants that were flushed into New York and overwhelmed their system. He went down south to the border. He said, hey, stop sending illegals to New York, cut off this border. All of our services are overwhelmed. Our homeless places, the illegals are displacing U.S. citizen homeless people, vets that are homeless. They're overrunning all of our welfare systems. We can't pay for all this. This is going to be billions of dollars over our budget. And suddenly, boom, Eric Adams gets slapped by all their Democrat apparatchiks with fraud, criminal fraud. Trump goes in and sends these Emile Beauvais to look into it. And it doesn't stick, lo and behold.
Offenses. There was no suggestion of prosecutorial misconduct. There was no hint of a lack of evidence, but nevertheless, Beauvais orders his former office to dismiss the case. Now, why does he do this? He does this because Eric Adams essentially tells the Trump administration, hey, I can be useful to you on immigration policy.
Now, why would Adam Schiff say this about a black man, Eric Adams? Why would Adam Schiff, a white man, say that about Eric Adams, that he can be bought, that he just goes along with Trump? He's Eric Adams is a Democrat. He might be the only honest one in all of New York.
And Beauvais orders the prosecutors to drop the case and makes it pretty clear why, that he will be useful to them on immigration enforcement. It's this quid pro quo.
Is not immigration enforcement a good thing, Adam Schiff? So of course you want Eric Adams to be useful on immigration enforcement in New York.
So the U.S. attorney at the time, Danielle Sassoon, writes a lengthy letter back to the Justice Department, to Pam Bondi, talking about how she's been ordered by Beauvais to make this case go away and how she cannot ethically do so. She cannot, in good faith, represent before the court that the interest of justice would be served by dismissing this case.
Oh, yes, she can.
In fact, she says this quid pro quo that is suggested in this corrupt bargain, she says that she can't go forward with this because it would violate Department of Justice policy, it would violate her oath of office, and she refuses.
Yeah, Adam Schiff, you want her to defy her oath of office.
And so she's gone, resigned or forced to quit. So they then move on to other people in the office to try to get them to dismiss the case. One of the other prosecutors, Hagen Scotton, who, like Danielle Sassoon, impeccable Federalist Society credentials.
Yeah. Impeccable.
They had both clerked for very conservative judges and justices.
Okay, so what he's going to say is these people's credentials are that they're trying to keep Eric Adams under the gun, but they're from the Federalist Society. They're conservatives. And Emile Beauvais reverses them, goes against them, which shows that he's not a party hack. He's working sometimes against conservatives, which is what the law would demand that you do. If you just follow the law, sometimes you're going to go against Democrats. Mostly you're going to go against Democrats. And sometimes you're going to go against conservatives.
On the Supreme Court, Hagen likewise will not move to dismiss the case against the mayor of New York. He's not even asked, but he proactively says, don't come to me to do this. Anyone should be able to tell the president, this is a terrible idea. You just can't do this. You can't give special treatment to politicians who are favorable to you on policy matters.
You'd never give special treatment to politicians on policy matters. Now, I've got another article that I find very interesting on Emile Beauvais. It's over here at Politico, and we're going to check this out together because it really gives you the divide that's inside of conservatives on Emile Beauvais. The conservative camp, our side, is split on him. And the split is going to be Trump and the MAGA Republicans versus the Federalist Society, more traditional conservatives, the ones that picked Amy Coney Barrett, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh. And Trump was just mad that they didn't go along with him on tariffs. So he goes, fine, I'm going to pick my own guy, which, by the way, is the president's absolute right to do. He can pick a Supreme Court justice for whatever reason, same way that we saw that Kagan, Sotomayor, Ketanji Brown Jackson were picked as political hacks for their side. We should be able to have 3 political hack picks for our side to balance them out. That's all. That's the premise of my argument. Let's take a look at this. Here's the next conservative civil war is coming. Trump's nomination of Emile Beauvais to be this federal judge has sparked a larger battle within the conservative legal movement. The next flashpoint in President Donald Trump's battle to reshape the federal judiciary is coming, and it's dividing the right. Trump recently appeared to declare war on the Federalist Society, the powerful conservative legal advocacy organization that played an essential role in his election, both in 2016 and 2024. But mostly in 16, guys, these are the people that when people were afraid of Trump in 2016, conservatives said, I'm not voting for Trump. Who knows who will put on the Supreme Court? He'll probably put his sister, who's a judge, on the Supreme Court. And the Federalist Society fed Trump a list of like 25 Supreme Court picks, okay? And Trump said, I'm releasing this list by the Federalist Society. These are the kinds of people that I will support. And all of the neocons and all of the Paul Ryans and all of the traditional conservatives, the rhinos, came over and supported Trump for president based on that Supreme Court list. And Trump indeed did pick all of his judges off of that list. But then, you know, some of us have some complaints on some of the outcomes of some of these things. And Trump just goes, I'm not using your list anymore, which is fine. I would feel more comfortable if you pulling from the Federalist Society. But what history has proven is that even the Federalist Society's picks aren't entirely trusted. Why wouldn't Trump trust one of his 2 main lawyers who have defended him through thick and thin? This makes perfect sense. It's incredibly Trumpy. It's incredibly pro-MAGA. I support this 100%. after one of his first-term appointees ruled against him in a major challenge to tariffs. Trump launched a public tirade against the former chair of the group, Leonard Leo, who Trump described as a sleazebag who probably hates America, before blaming the group for bad advice they gave me on numerous judicial nominations. But the more tangible potential rupture with at least parts of the conservative legal movement is coming over Trump's decision to nominate Emil Bove, formerly Trump's criminal defense lawyer, currently Trump's enforcer at the Justice Department, to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit. Prominent members of the conservative legal movement have been publicly speaking out against Bove's nomination, arguing that he would be more loyal to Trump than the rule of law, just like Kagan, Sotomayor, and Brown Jackson. That in turn has sparked a backlash against Bove's critics from Trump allies, eager to install a new set of judges who might be less tied to the old guard on the right. Correct, Politico. It's a remarkable turn, and it threatens to further destabilize an alliance between Trump and the establishment conservative legal community that has been critical to his presidency and that has produced one of Trump's most durable political achievements, stocking the judiciary with conservative judges and securing sweeping wins at the Supreme Court, from abortion to affirmative action and presidential immunity. The outcome of this clash could also have a real impact on how Trump's second term unfolds. It could influence not just Trump's next wave of judicial appointments, but how the president's most aggressive attempts to dramatically expand presidential authority, from the dismantling of huge swaths of the federal government to the unprecedented deployment of the U.S. military in Los Angeles, fare in the courts. And all of those just got a better chance with him appointing Emil Bove to that third circuit. We support this. I hope he gets all the way to the Supreme Court. This is the first show that I've done on this, so I'm telling you guys, get used to it. Emil Bove for the Supreme Court. What do you guys think? Do you support Emil, E-M-I-L, for the Supreme Court? I want to hear from you. I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe.